Is Isak Cruz and Shakur Stevenson the fight to make at 140 pounds? We know that Isak Cruz had a tremendous performance against Rolly Romero. It was a little sad to see Rolly Romero go out like that, but that's part of the sport of boxing. There shows it shows levels. There's no cheating boxing. You know that Rolly Romero started boxing late, and I think it just showed not only in this fight but against Tank. And in the sparring clips of Rolly Romero getting tagged, getting touched up by other guys, getting knocked out in sparring, like it all shows as a result of him starting late. There are certain exceptions in the sport. You have guys like Deontay Wilder that start late in the sport of boxing and can get away with it because ultimately he's a heavyweight and he can crack. It does make sense because in these lower weight classes you have guys who are really talented. But I do think Shakur Stevenson and Isak Cruz is a tremendous fight to take place at 140. There are a lot of talented fighters at 140 that Isak Cruz could face. You have guys like Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, Regis Prograis. There are still a lot of entertaining fighters other than Shakur Stevenson. Even though Shakur is obviously campaigning at 135, I could easily see him going up to 140 to make a fight with Isak Cruz because Isak Cruz is gaining a lot of traction, especially after that fight against Rolly Romero. I can't imagine that his stock hasn't, shot through the sky after that fight because it was a good performance from him. He was exciting. That was a great night of boxing. That was the real main event in my opinion. It wasn't Fondora and Zoo. I understand that fight was a bloodbath and it was still exciting. Didn't disappoint, but I would still say, like many of us expected, that co-main event did steal the show, and ultimately Isak Cruz was victorious, putting on for Mexico, getting that 8th round stoppage against Rolando Romero. It was unfortunate for Rolly, but that's just the way the sport of boxing goes. I think he paid for all the trash talk that he ultimately threw at Isak Cruz and all the lead up to the fight, especially during fight week with the Chihuahua Cruz chain, everything being disrespectful. I don't think Rolly Romero does it personally, but ultimately it seems personal in the press conferences. But I think ultimately he knows that it's just business. He's just trying to make the fight as big as it possibly can be, so that when these guys end the fight, win, lose or draw, they're making a lot of money. So in a lot of ways, Rolly Romero is doing Isak Cruz a favor and making him more money. Gave him a lot of eyeballs on the sport, and I'm sure Isak Cruz gained a lot of Rolly fans in that fight because it was exciting. I just don't know if against the elite, if Isak Cruz can maintain that level of success. I just think when there are guys that can move laterally, can escape a little better than Rolando Romero, because as much as I like Rolly, I know he can crack, he's awkward, whatever you guys may say, he's just not that great with his feet, in my opinion. When you watch boxers, you see that their movement is smooth. He's just not one of those guys. But he has other things that, make up for that and have made up for it. But I think against Isak Cruz's style, he couldn't get away with it. But I think guys like Tank, guys like Devin and Shakur, they have those skills when it comes to footwork that are going to allow themselves to evade these shots with their feet, not only bob and weave and parry shots, keep your hands up, all that stuff, but the feet are very important. It's very interesting for me to just watch a fight based on footwork. I find myself a lot of the times when I watch boxing, I don't even look at their upper bodies. I'm just watching the way they move side to side, back and forth. It's something that you can always appreciate. When I watch Rolly, it's very like I'm crossing my legs and I'm staying right in front of the fighter. I don't know how to get out of the way properly. But guys like Shakur, guys like Tank and Devin, these guys have been doing it for so many years. They have decorated amateur backgrounds that they've seen a lot of styles. They've been forced to get out of the way of big punchers. And Isak Cruz throwing these like mean left hooks. He has short arms, but these he finds a way to throw these leaping shots and be successful with them. Landed consistently on Rolly Romero, made him look like a punching bag. Like it was just target practice for him. Rolly's chin just simply didn't hold up. I'm curious to see against guys like Shakur potentially. It's a big fight in my opinion. How will Shakur's chin hold up if he does get touched? I don't expect Shakur to get hit nearly as much as Rolly Romero did. I don't expect Isak Cruz to be able to be as successful, because I think Shakur is just one of those talented guys who understands the distance. He has a good jab. He understands that ability to measure on the back foot, how close I need to be to hit you and how far away I need to be so that you can't hit me. And I think that's a lost art in the sport of boxing, and only, you know, the elite, you know, possess those abilities. And it's just like, I just think of it as like you have a gauge, you have a good gauge, and you know, you're basically a human ruler. Like you can measure how far a guy is and when he's in range to hit you and when he's not. Like a lot of guys don't have that. Like Rolly Romero doesn't have that. He doesn't know when he's safe. You know, he thinks when he throws a shot that, you know, he has the time, but he doesn't. Guys like Isak Cruz, who he was ready to counter him, get in the inside, get in the pocket and exchange with Rolly Romero, and Isak Cruz obviously got the better of the exchanges, and that's why he won the fight. But it's not to take away from Rolly Romero, because, you know, he came into the fight an underdog for a reason, because Isak Cruz, a lot of people expected him to, you know, knock out Rolly, because Rolly's chin has, you know, historically not been great, especially in the last few years. We've seen what happened with Tank. I think it started with that fight where, you know, Tank ultimately stopped him, caught him with that big counter left hand shot, and I think it changed his career for the worst, unfortunately. But you know, that's just the sport of boxing. This isn't you can't play it ultimately. Like you saw Rolly stumbling and fumbling in the first round. That was the first round. I was like, okay, we kind of know what's going to happen here. It's just a matter of time. But he hung in there for way longer than I thought he would, after seeing him get stunned in the first round by that left hook from Isak Cruz. It's just so much power. He kind of has that Oscar Valdez left hook where it's so, like, it's tight, but like you could almost argue it's more accurate, because from the distance it doesn't seem like Isak Cruz is going to land it. It seems like he's too far, but especially with his short arms, but he finds a way to land big shots on guys like Rolly Romero. So I think, you know, as good as he is, and I understand, I just gave him a lot of praise. I do think that the elite at 140 do pick him apart and kind of put him through a boxing clinic. I think those guys are just too good. But I think I also, you know, wouldn't be surprised if he picks his moments, and, you know, if he's perfect for 1 second, potentially hurts a guy like Shakur Stevenson. But I just think that's a good fight, because we've heard, you know, Shakur call out Isak Cruz, and Isak Cruz has said that he doesn't want to fight Shakur. He doesn't like his style. His team doesn't like his style. He's a track star. You know, all the generic Shakur Stevenson hater comments. But I do think that Shakur Stevenson should be able to beat Isak Cruz. But it's not an easy task. Like, this guy's a come-forward fighter. He smothers his opponents. He tucks his chin real tight, which is obviously, you know, boxing 101. But he's able to do it consistently. It's hard to hurt a guy who basically, like, has no neck. He keeps it tucked. It's hard to rock a guy like that. So, you know, even with power, we've seen Tank, he wasn't able to do it, you know, obviously taking into account that he did have a hurt hand. So you have to remember that. But still, like, he had a competitive fight with one of the best fighters in the game right now. So Isak Cruz, Shakur Stevenson, do you guys want to see that next? I think it's a good fight. I think it's a good test for both guys, but I would pick Shakur by decision, and could potentially be a close fight, and who knows, maybe Isak Cruz lands a bomb and changes everything. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace. That's going to do it for another Naz Fight Media video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been your boy, Matt Nabong, with another video. Hope you guys enjoyed it all. Thank you guys for the constant support. Salute to y'all always. It's been your boy.